After the rocky announcement of the sequel, many were skeptical on how it would turn out. But to our surprise, Splatoon 2 feels much more like a sequel and less like the DLC add-on or port of the original that people were expecting. Splatoon 2 still feels like a fresh, standout game, despite being the second one in the series. The idea of a shooter that isn't focused on violence and killing is what sets this series apart. This game, like many Nintendo games, has a personality that makes even the grumpiest of people crack a smile. In this shooter, the characters are all squids, and with the ability to transform from human to squid on the fly, the gameplay is always varied. Choosing from an arsenal of weapons has never been more interesting than in Splatoon 2. Not only were there many improvements to the already existing weapons, but new ones have been added too. And depending on one's playstyle, each weapon will serve a different purpose. This is not a new idea, but it's refreshing to see it done with paint instead of the standard militaristic weapons we're used to. The single-player campaign is level-based, a lot like the previous installment. There are multiple worlds with various levels for each, and each world has a boss to defeat to unlock the next world. However, unlike the first Splatoon, the objective variety in Splatoon 2 is much more varied. Some levels have bots that act like real players and must be defeated to proceed. Others have the player collecting various keys to get to the next area. It would be nice to see an even more open-ended objective and level design, but since multiplayer is the star of the show, it's hard to complain too much. The game may look childish, but it's just as sophisticated as modern games of the same genre. For example, the unlockable equipment has random power-ups that may adhere to the player's specific style. Getting that perfect equipment setup is something that even the higher level players covet and are always striving for. This quest for loot is one that is seen in games like Destiny, Borderlands, or The Division. In addition, the online community for Splatoon 2 is thriving in the same way as those aforementioned shooters are, if not better. Since this is a niche game, the fans are super loud. It's kind of amazing to see Nintendo go from a company that was reluctant to support online play all the way to this. The main focus of Splatoon is online. There are several modes to keep the player entertained. The main one, Turf War, is a battle for who can cover the most turf with their team's ink. It's basically tug of war. But Splatoon is fast, and the game can change in mere seconds. This is the mode most people will probably play, since it's unlocked right from the start. Once level 10 is reached, the ranked and league modes are unlocked, and that's where it starts to get interesting. Playing ranked is similar to playing normally, only the game mode is different. Ranked has a capture the flag mode that will test the player's skill tremendously. Capture the flag can end in a matter of seconds, so it's actually better for gaining experience to play in this mode, provided the player's skill is there. Mine was not, and neither was my team's. We got crushed almost every game we played, which just goes to show how skill-oriented this game truly is. The co-op horde mode, Salmon Run, is a blast to play. This is a new, much-needed addition to the series. In Salmon Run, players are teamed up to complete wave after wave of an enemy rush. However, unlike most horde-style modes, this one has an objective: capture the required amount of eggs for that round. Each wave has numerous bosses that all drop eggs, where players must collect as many as they can. So, on top of merely surviving the rounds, the players must meet their quotas. This mode is one of the most interesting in the game, but unfortunately, it can only be played at certain times. This is a questionable decision, because since it's a new mode, players may want to jump in and try it out. At least the frequency of the availability is often enough to not be a huge letdown. While Splatoon 2 has many improvements from the first game, I do have some criticisms of some of the game's features, or lack thereof. Like, the fact that there are only a few game modes hinders the game severely. Even the quest for loot gets old after a while, and having several game modes to choose from would help keep this game fresh. Perhaps the community will get more in a future update. Also, the lack of local multiplayer is a huge miss on Nintendo's part. This style of game lends itself perfectly to a co-op multiplayer mode, and having it on the same system would be a definite plus. Finally, the map design is a little safe. All of the maps are completely symmetrical, which tends to get old after a while. I think if there were more asymmetrical map choices, it would make for more of a learning experience as opposed to immediately learning how to play each map. It's rewarding to figure out how to maneuver a weirdly designed map, and the game would benefit from having that. All of that being said, Splatoon 2 has much room to grow. Like its predecessor, Nintendo will support the game with free updates, Splatfests, and new maps. So I have much hope for what this game will look like, even just a few months from now. Splatoon 2 is a sequel with many improvements upon the first game. It's colorful, charming, and designed in such a way that will keep the player coming back for more. Even with a few questionable design decisions, the game still has enough to make this worth the purchase, especially since many missed out on the first game on Wii U. I give Splatoon 2 an 8 out of 10. Even if it's a little lacking now, it will probably be a much more complete package in the future. Thanks for watching my review. I hope you enjoyed it. And subscribing is mutually beneficial. I get more views and you get notified when I put out a new video, so you should do that. Take care.